Hey, what's going on? It is Steph here from stephjking.com, coming to you from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. And today I'm going to give you 3 books to strengthen your relationship. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about relationships. And just so you know, I'm not a relationship expert by any means, and I'm not perfect, and I don't have the perfect relationship, but I wanted to share with you 3 books that I found really helpful that definitely has helped me in my relationships. So let's dig in. So the first one is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray. Now this is probably the most popular relationship book that I've heard of, and you've probably heard of it as well. This would probably, I'd have to say, would be the first book that I did read about relationships. I thought it was a really good read because this was what really opened up my eyes on just how different women and men are. It just blew my mind, and just so many things were just like, oh, just even learning about me, because I was like, I do that. So it was just a real good, I guess, book to read to really understand what you do as someone, and then also the opposite sex as well, and just how bad we can clash sometimes, and understanding that that is completely normal because we are such different creatures. And I remember reading a part in here which I thought was really, really good, and this is probably the one that I remember the most because it's been years since I've read this. It's always good to go back to read books, so I might have to do it. But the one thing I remember was when you may have an argument with your partner, particularly from my perspective as a woman, I'm arguing with a man, my partner, that they pull away. And I know something I used to do was when they would pull away, I would chase them. And in this book, they were like, that's the worst thing that you can do. And you need to think about men as elastic bands. When they do pull away from you, remember that whilst they pull away, they're just going to stretch, and eventually they're going to let go and they're going to return to you. Now, if they return to you and you're like, get away from me, I'm totally not talking to you, then they're kind of like, oh, okay, why is she being a cow? Whereas if you allow them to have that time away so they can deal with their own problem, because as women, we like to talk, we like to get things out, and we tend to resolve our issues that way. Whereas men will go within and they'll try and deal with situations by themselves internally. So knowing that, we need to allow them to go away to deal with whatever it is they need to deal with, and be there for them when they come back, because most of the time they're coming back because they've dealt with the situation and they're ready to show love and have that love again. So that was probably the biggest thing that I got out of this book that I can recall at the moment. So definitely a good read. And he also backed it up with a second book called Why Mars and Venus Collide. And this is more so about how men and women deal with stress differently. And I thought that was a really good book as well, but that's not part of my 3. So there you go, bonus book. My second book recommendation would be The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Now, I don't have a copy with me at the moment. It was a book that I read probably, I'd say about 6 to 7 years ago. I was newly in a relationship with my current partner now, and one of my girlfriends was like, have you read this book? It's really, really good. It explains how you express and also receive love, and essentially there's 5 languages, and we all have this, so we all show this in different ways, and we also all receive it in different ways. So the 5 love languages is acts of service, quality time, gifts, physical touch, and words of affirmation. So those things, you may relate to all of them. So you might go, well, I love getting gifts. Like, I really feel loved when I get gifts. But I also love words of affirmation. Like, I love being told I love you. But what you'll find is there'll be one that you're more dominant in. So when I was reading through the book, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely quality of time, and I'm probably words of affirmation. not too concerned about gifts, so I'm probably not about gifts or anything like that. But then I asked myself the question, what is the one that I could not live without? And for me, it was quality time. So I could maybe not have those other things for a period of time and I'd be okay. But if I didn't have quality one-on-one time with my partner, then that's when I start to feel like my love tank isn't as full as what it could be if I did have that quality time with them. So it's great to understand your own language, because you then need to realize that your partner may be something completely different. And that's what I used to do, was I was showing love in a way that I liked receiving it. Yet I then realized that that wasn't actually how he receives love. So for example, I'm quality time and my partner is actually acts of service. So when I read that book, I realized that, okay, I was showing him love in ways that maybe wasn't the best for him. So ways that you could show someone that may be a love language of acts of service would be, and these are a couple of things that I will do for my partner: making him a cup of tea and taking it to him. It could be cooking dinner, might be washing up or tidying up. So that is acts of service, and that's how they feel loved. So it's really important that if you're in a relationship, and look, this may not even be for a romantic relationship, this could just be relationships in general. If you want to show someone that you care about them, it's making sure that you know that you might be showing them in a certain way that they may not be receiving it as well, because they're dominant in a different language. So I find understanding the different languages and maybe having those discussions with your partner or someone that you want to show love to, and understanding just how to have better quality relationships just simply by knowing what your love language is and what their love language is. And my third book would be The Emotional Hook Formula by Elaine Chase and Aaron Fox. Now that I think about it, it's not really a book. It's probably more of like a training, and you do get it in digital form, but I really liked it. So I actually printed it out so I could literally sit there and study it. Like, I highlighted all the important parts. Now, this book was written with the intention that most women could read it. So it is specific to women. And even if you're single or you've just started a relationship or you're in a long-term relationship, you might be married or even maybe separated at this stage. This is something that I read more recently. It was last year and it was during a tough period of my relationship with my partner. And I found it really, really helped, just because I was just in this situation where we'd been together for such a long time, and I was just thinking to myself, I keep trying these different things to make our relationship better or to make it stronger, and nothing just seems to be working. So I was in a bit of a headspace where I was very frustrated and just felt like there was nothing that could fix it, and I just didn't know what to do. And this book showed up, and I'm so grateful that it did, because it was a huge turning point for me. The information that I took out of this book, I've not heard from anywhere else. So if you are someone that may be dating and maybe you're attracting the wrong type of people, like the wrong guys, maybe they're cheaters, maybe they just treat you like rubbish, or if you are in a relationship and you feel that maybe you're growing apart, or maybe your man is getting a little bit more distance from you and you can just feel them pulling away and you don't want that, this is probably a good thing to read for you, because that's kind of where I was at, where we were in this crossroads where we just didn't know what to do anymore. And me reading this just changed everything. So some people have said that this book is quite manipulative, and when you go through it, it actually gives you exercises or maybe activities that you can learn to implement into you yourself and also your relationship. And there is a bit of psychology in here, so I can really probably see why they would say that. But I think if you have really good intentions and you're coming from a place within your heart that you really just want to make things better between you and your partner, then I would definitely read it. I just found after I read it that I was just able to communicate better and just understand things from a man's perspective, because sometimes I find men will know what they want, but sometimes they just can't communicate it effectively. So once I read this, I just found that I really understood my partner on a whole different level. And I just started implementing little things like having better conversations with him and talking to him in a way that I knew that he would understand. And that just had fantastic results in our relationship. So from personal experience, the stuff that I learned from this was great. It did have a positive impact on me individually as a person. Just my knowledge now about relationships, but also with men, is just, changed my mindset completely. And it's really, really helped our relationship. So I would recommend it to most women if you want to get that knowledge. Now, it isn't a book, so you can't get it from a bookstore. I got it from online. I don't even know how I came across it, but I did, and I'm glad I got it. And like I said, I printed it off. And it's quite a doozy, so make sure you got enough time to read through it. Anyway, so those are my 3 books that I would really recommend in just strengthening your relationships. All 3 and even 4 with this one, with the Mars and Venus collide, I find will really benefit you. So definitely check them out if you want. If you did get value out of this video, then let me know by giving a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, so you can get notified next time I upload. Until then, have an awesome day or evening wherever you are in this beautiful world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!